Have you ever just looked at social media and thought, why is this so broken? Well, today we're diving into a pretty radical new idea that might just fix one of the internet's biggest pains. It's called Social Networks as a Service, or SNaaS for short. And get this, it can build an entire social network from a single AI prompt in just 30 seconds.
Right? It's the question we've all probably screamed at our phones at some point. These companies have billions of dollars, they have armies of the smartest engineers in the world, so why is content moderation still such a complete and utter mess? It feels like an impossible problem, but maybe the problem isn't that it's impossible. Maybe they're just using the wrong tools for the job entirely.
You see, the current model, this whole centralized one-size-fits-all approach, is fundamentally broken. And it really fails for three main reasons. First, the sheer scale is just inhuman. Second, there's no way a single set of rules can work for every single cultural context on the planet. And third, the algorithms they rely on, they can be hopelessly biased and they get things wrong all the time. And all of this leads to what we can really only call a moderation meltdown. The system we have right now isn't just a little inefficient. It's actively creating frustration, moderator burnout, and these online environments where pretty much nobody feels truly safe or understood. This table really just lays out the failure perfectly. Okay, so you start with these global rules that are so broad, they're almost useless. Then you try to enforce them with imperfect AI, which just creates a tidal wave of false positives. And the result? You get this incredibly high-noise environment, a digital room where millions of people are all shouting at once, and the human moderators just burn out.
But what if we just flip the whole model on its head? This is where a totally new paradigm comes in. I want you to forget the idea of a global town square for a minute. Instead, let's talk about the 30-second network. And this is it. SNaaS, Social Networks as a Service. The idea is so simple, but it's also a total game changer. It's a service that lets anyone, not just some giant corporation, create their very own fully functional, community-owned social network just by telling an AI what they want. And this is the real earthquake at the heart of SNaaS. It's all about taking power away from that small handful of tech giants and giving it back to the actual people who are building and living in these digital spaces. We're talking about a shift from a single digital empire to a whole federation of unique digital towns. Okay, so how does this actually work? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, right? But the process of going from just a simple idea, a prompt, to a live working platform is actually incredibly straightforward. Just take a look at this prompt. It's not code, it's just plain English. You're telling the AI exactly what you want, a private network for a very specific group, astrophysicists. You give it a name, Astrosphere. You specify a key feature, a channel for data sharing. You add a security rule, like verified academic emails. And you even pick a design choice, dark mode. You're basically defining the entire community's purpose and its constitution from the very beginning. And how long does it take for the AI to turn that sentence into a living, breathing social network? Well, it's less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee. 30 seconds. That, right there, is the game changer. So what's actually happening behind the scenes in that half minute? Well, the AI is running through four main steps. First, it defines the data structure, the schema. Then it pulls in all the pre-built components you need, like chat or file sharing. Third, it generates the user interface based on your request, in this case, dark mode. And finally, it deploys the whole thing on a decentralized backbone and basically just hands you the keys. It's automation at its absolute best. Okay, so the tech is seriously impressive. It's fast. But how does this get us back to solving our original problem, the moderation nightmare? Well, this is what we'll call the community cure, where the technology itself enables a deeply human solution. Let's put these two models head to head. You can immediately see how the SNaaS model directly counters every single failure point of the old system. Instead of vague global rules, you get local, explicit context. Instead of relying on flawed algorithms, you get human-first enforcement. And that chaotic, high-noise environment gets replaced by a high-signal, low-noise community. That means more real conversation and way less junk. And this, right here, this is the absolute heart of the solution. Moderation isn't being outsourced to some faceless corporation thousands of miles away anymore. It's owned by the small group of people who are the most invested, the most passionate about the health of their own community. They make the rules, and they enforce them. It's that simple.
So, this works through three core ideas. First, the rules are defined explicitly by the creator from day one, no ambiguity. Second, the governance, the decision-making, is handled by the community members themselves, the people who have a real stake in its success. And third, these networks are self-reliant. If one community goes toxic, other communities can just cut ties with it. It's built-in self-preservation.
And here's a quote that just nails why this is so effective. In a small, specialized network like our astrosphere example, your online behavior is directly tied to your real-world professional reputation. The social cost of being a troll or breaking the rules is incredibly high. It encourages everyone to be a good citizen because your reputation, your good name, becomes the currency of trust. So what does all this mean for the future of the internet? We're not just talking about another new app here. We are talking about a totally new architecture for our online lives, a future made up of digital towns. And that is the ultimate takeaway here. SNaaS isn't about creating another monolithic giant. The goal is to give people the tools to build thousands, maybe millions, of small, focused, and manageable digital communities, each with its own culture, its own rules. Think of it like a collection of unique, interesting small towns instead of one giant, chaotic, sprawling city. So, what's the end result? What's the outcome of all this? Well, it means faster, more accessible ways to create online spaces. It means communities with way more meaningful conversation. And most importantly, it means a model for governance that's actually sustainable because it's built around people, not just algorithms. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. After decades of chasing massive scale and global connection at all costs, maybe what we've learned is that the best way to be social online is to think small, to be specific, and to stay human. So is the future of our digital social lives small?